So everyone, before we go to the next chapter, which we'll do on Thursday in Peninei Halacha, I thought that we would just go over one idea from the Peninei Halacha and the laws of the days of Ah. So the Mishnah in Rosh Hashanah 29b says that Yom Tov Shel Rosh Hashanah Shechal Yot B'Shabbat. This is only saying that there's only one day of Rosh Hashanah so far. And so, if it happens to be on Shabbat, so in the temple they would blow the shofar, but not anywhere else in the land of Israel. And Mishacharav Bet Hamikdash, when the temple was destroyed, Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, who was very influential in saving the Torah and moving the Sanhedrin to Yavne, made a takana that on Shabbat you would blow anywhere there's a Beit Din, but not in a city or town that doesn't have a Beit Din. And Rabbi Elazar, I guess, discussing historically what was really discussed, he says that Rabbi Nachman Zakkai only did this takana for Yavna because that was where the new location of the Sanhedrin was, and the Chachamim say Yavna and everywhere that there's Beit Din. So they're basically repeating what they said. In the Gemara, they wanted to know where do we even get this idea that on Shabbat we don't blow the shofar, and how later on it became that there's 2 days of Rosh Hashanah everywhere, including in the land of Israel, because Rabbi Levi Bar Lachma said in the name of Rabbi Chama that one verse says Shabbaton Zichron Truah, and that's in Leviticus, and Chatuv Echad Omer Yom Teruah Yelachem, that you'll have a day of sounding the shofar. And so the Gemara says, La Kasha, it's not a problem, it's not a contradiction. Kan B'Yom Tov Shechal Yot B'Shabbat, meaning that Zichron Teruah, only the memory or the recollection of blowing the shofar is when Rosh Hashanah is on Shabbat, and Kan B'Yom Tov Shechal Yot B'Chol, and the other verse refers to when it is B'Chol. So just a reminder, in Leviticus 23, it says, "Speak to the children of Israel, and say that on the seventh month, on the first day, there should be a Shabbaton, a Zichron Truah." So Shabbat and Zichron are in the same sentence, so that's why it's a memory of the Truah of the sound shofar. And in Numbers, in the Parsha of what we call the Musafim, this is in the 40th year, it says, "B'chodesh hashvi'i b'echad l'chodesh mikra kodesh yeh lachem yom Truah yeh lachem." So just one more clarification. Whenever the Torah says that in the singular, it's actually for the plural, and whenever it says lachem plural, it's actually the opposite, which is for the singular. So that's why they were wondering if maybe there's more than one place that we have to sound the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. And so later on in the Gemara, it says that the reason why we now have 2 days is because sometimes Rosh Hashanah will be on Shabbat, and so we celebrate Shabbat and Sunday. That way, on Shabbat in our Musaf, we actually say Zichron Truah, and it's in parentheses in most Sidurim, and the word Zichron, and on Sunday there will be shofar. And what is the basis for all of this? Even though it sounds very strange that we're adding a whole day, and we talked many times about the power of the rabbis to do things and to change things in order to make the Torah more accessible and more practice. So the Peninei Halacha of Melamed explains that that it was in order to make sure that we don't carry on Shabbat. So it says here like this, just before that, and I'm glad that there is English because the whole book of Peninei Halacha doesn't have the English translation. So, Mipnei she'akol chayvim b'mitzvot shofar, everybody is obligated to hear the shofar. Ve'en hakol bekiim be'isur tiltul b'reshut rabim. Not everybody knows the halachot of carrying in the public domain 4 amot, 6 feet, approximately 6 feet. Ve'yesh chashash she'anashim she'nam yodin litzkoa. There's a fear that people who don't know how to blow the shofar, they will carry the shofar that they have. I'm guessing like for a bar mitzvah gift or something like that. Um, that they will go to somebody who does know how to blow a shofar, and then they will carry the shofar for amot in Reshut Rabim. So, and that would be a isur d'oraita. Obviously, we're talking about the biblical Reshut Rabim, which we said is it has to be 16 amot wide, and it has to be mefulash from side to side of the city. And we also said that there's a requirement of 600,000 people going there every day. And so to save one Jew who happens to have a shofar but doesn't know how to blow it from walking on Shabbat in the public domain with his shofar to the local rabbi or Baal Tokea, that's why all of the people of Israel don't put on tefillin on the second day of Rosh Hashanah, including in Israel, and we change our tefillot and we read a different Torah portion, even if it's not Monday or Thursday. It's like it's incredible that for this one um, bloke, as the British would say, who really doesn't know the halacha, but he remembers that he needs to hear the shofar, he will forget and carry it in the public domain. And it's incredible that for one Jew, sometime in history, we are changing the halacha for the last 1800 years or so, that we have Rosh Hashanah for 2 days, and that way, even if the first day is Shabbat, we do it on the second day and hear the shofar. So that really is the power of Torah min hashamayim, and that the rabbis argued. Maybe I'll mention this story in short. It's Baba Metzia 57 A or B, I'm not sure, and it says that Rabbi Elazar, same Rabbi Elazar that we quoted in the Mishnah before, said that if the law is like me about this oven, that it becomes tameh, and not like the majority of rabbis who said it is not, the tree will prove, and the tree did in fact get uprooted and move, and then. The second proof was that the aqueduct, the water will go backwards, and it really did. And then the third one was, he said, if the halacha is like me, the walls of this base midrash will tumble over and bury us all alive. And Rabbi Yoshua stood on his feet and he said, we have a masorah, we have a tradition, lo b'shamayim hi, it's not in heaven where it decides. So even though heaven here supported Rabbi Eliezer's opinion 3 times, we do not follow that, because it is our decision as the people passing on the traditions and the laws. And so the Gemara says that the walls didn't straighten back up, but they also didn't fall. And so there's a tradition that where this base midrash was, I think in Safed, that there was, but then there was an earthquake about 150 years ago, and so we can't see this miracle every day. But it's just to say that Hashem gave us the authority to discuss the law and to interpret it, and so learning those 2 verses from Vayikra and from Bamidbar, we get to the conclusion that in fact we don't blow shofar on Shabbat, even in a place where there is a Beit Din. And Me'erai Bana Mikdash, and we will be able to hear the shofar of Mashiach, B'mehera b'yameinu, maybe even tomorrow. And so, hopefully tomorrow. Anyway, stop here and open up for questions.